Right now, though, Anthony, coming off of our NFC East offensive coordinator power rankings, if you will, that we did on Take Command, we decided Mike Kafka, the OC, along with Brian Dable, of course, in New York, is the best OC in the division, even though he's probably got the worst talent. Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer, that combo is 2. We put Kliff Kingsbury 3 and Kellen Moore 4th, fired out of the NFC East 2 years ago, fired out of the AFC West last year as they blew up the staff in LA with Harbaugh coming in. So first of all, what do you think of the rankings? And then we can get into our rankings off of that, which is who will actually have the best offense in 2024 in the NFC East.
I like Kellen Moore 4th. I feel as though he's been gifted some really talented offensive weapons during his time as a coordinator. And it hasn't really amounted to much. And I know, Dallas gets a lot of scrutiny for, making it to the playoffs and not really capitalizing off the stellar seasons they usually have. But even just looking at his stint in San Diego, I was expecting Justin Herbert to take off, and and maybe it's more of an indictment on Justin Herbert because I guess we anointed him too soon.
Maybe, but I think most people look at Herbert and go, "That dude's a badass."
Yeah.
And Kellen Moore didn't, and they had some other injury issues, whatever. But they should have been better. I think the ultimate thing that it's easy to say about Kellen Moore is the dude had the same personnel basically, and you could argue even better personnel in Dallas. And the best version of Dallas's offense happened when he left. That when McCarthy was like, "Nope, all right, I call the plays now. Me and Brian Schottenheimer are gonna put this thing together," and they started. Now, I do think it'd be fair to point out in Moore's defense / just as a fact, CeeDee Lamb is he's a young player that's now entering his prime, and so Kellen Moore had young CeeDee Lamb versus just this current version. But still, he had CeeDee Lamb, and he didn't maximize him. We see young receivers coming into the league. I mean, Jamar Chase had 1,500 yards as a rookie.
Exactly.
So we see this happen all the time. Yeah, where young players on the outside, you figure out how to use them right, and they can be studs pretty much immediately, even if they can still improve. So I think Moore and Kliff, because Kliff was a mixed bag in Arizona, but I think Kliff offensively and some of the things that he did, I think I liked the direction. There was just a lot of other stuff happening in Arizona, and I don't know that was capable / is capable of being a head coach right now. That is, but as an OC, I think the blend that he created of the air raid stuff that he had in his past versus some of the stuff he saw around the league and liked, and some of the factors that he considered clearly as he went, how he evolved his run game and some of that stuff. It was headed the right direction. And I think there's going to be continued growth upon that here in DC. But there also are, I think, some questions in terms of the ability to put it together week in and week out that have to be answered before you can put him ahead of a guy like McCarthy with all that he's done in Green Bay, what he did last year, especially with Dak and company in Dallas. And then, of course, Kafka and Dable, they have pretty terrible talent in New York. And that goes not just the quarterback position, leaving a ton to be desired the last couple of years. What they did with Daniel Jones 2 years ago was ridiculous. The O-line's consistently not been very good. You just have guys that just aren't developing or aren't very good to begin with. And then the receivers, who's the best skill player they've had outside of Saquon the last bunch of years? Darius Slayton? He's probably been their most consistent guy. It's they've tried to get rid of him. It feels like every year. And it's I guess we'll just throw the ball to Slayton again. And yet, if you watch them on film, there's stuff every week where you're like, oh, that's that scares me. That concept, the way they deploy that guy, that thing about their offense where they create chances. It's legit. And so I think if you were to all of a sudden take Kafka and them and put them in Dallas, that would be an upgrade. So that's how those power rankings work. I think the question becomes then, what happens when we actually blend the talent that they have? Who do you think finishes top total yards / points in 2024 in the NFC East? How do you rank them 1 through 4?
I'm not going to have the Giants up there.
No, I think the Giants are fourth, even though they have the best OC.
I think they're fourth. I would probably go the Commanders third.
I agree.
The Eagles second. Cowboys one.
I think I agree. Assuming health, right? I think people don't understand that like Dak Prescott is distinctly better than Jalen Hurts at this point in their careers. That is something that is mind blowing to people, but like it just is. And with a new OC, like we'll see if Kellen Moore can use. Like there is a version of the Kellen Moore offense that I see with Jalen Hurts and the the receivers they have and Saquon and everything, and I'm like, this could be sick. There's also a chance that I'm like, this is a terrible fit. I am fascinated to see what Kellen Moore does. I think this is going to challenge him in a way that he hasn't been challenged before. But ultimately, they have A.J. Brown. They have Devontae Smith. They have Saquon Barkley now. They have Hurts, who's a weapon as a runner and as a passer. I just think that Dallas is better. One, they have the better play caller and the better OC. Two, their talent, while there is some lacking, the offensive line's not as good as it was, and it continues to seemingly decline. I think there's a lot of questions there, and obviously Biotish leaves for Washington, so you think they downgrade at center. Running back situation's not very good, but they have Dak, they have CeeDee Lamb, and that's a top 10 offense almost by itself. And so I think that's probably correct. I think the Cowboys probably are the best offense in the division. The Eagles, not terribly far behind. The Commanders are the biggest wild card. The Commanders could be a top half offense in the league if Jayden develops. They could be a bottom half offense if he has a lot of rookie struggles. And then there's the Giants, who just are not talented, and there's only so much that scheme can do to produce points.
I feel like Dallas's defense also gives them the edge when it comes to the point disparity. Just because they're going to have so many more chances.
That's
and not to
point.
say the Eagles' defense isn't as good, but Dallas's defense routinely just been lights out the last couple of years. I will say Saquon does elevate that Eagles offense. So I think if you had to do percentages, I think the Eagles offense would have a higher percentage scoring than Dallas. But I think Dallas is going to get many more cracks at the egg just because of, their defense to an extent. I don't know if that fully makes sense, but
yeah, no, I think possessions is
those matter.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, if you have the ball more, you have a chance to score more points. And, getting off the field, whether it's, just getting off the field and more possessions per game or creating actual turnovers. It's something that I'm hopeful for Washington this year. Like, can they finally be the team that creates the turnovers instead of the team that gives them up and then just once every 3 weeks a ball gets tipped and falls into the right hands and the guy catches it? That'd be cool.
This is the Hoffman Show on the T980 and the Odyssey app.